Project L is an abstract game of Tetris-like game piece placement with an engine building, with a pool building element. I saw a copy in my friendly local game store. The components look interesting. Again, it looked like plain Tetris on a table, which is something very attractive to me. So I decided to give it a try, and I can tell you already, I'm happy that they pulled the trigger kind of like on a lark, because I'm very happy with the results. I'm very happy with the game and happy that now it is in my collection. The game uses these pieces made of sturdy plastic, and this is really high quality. They're really nice, thick, very colorful, pleasant to manipulate. So nice. And you start the game with only these two little pieces here, and again there's an element of engine building and pool building, so you'll get more pieces and better pieces as you go. The point of the game is to complete these puzzle cards that you see here. There are two kinds, white back, which are smaller and easier to complete, and black back, which are harder. And when you complete one, that is the number of victory points that you will score at the end of the game, and that is also the reward, so you will add the corresponding piece to your personal pool. I must show you these cards have a little bit of an inlay there, which means when you're placing your pieces there, it's gonna stick, it's gonna stay there. It's very nice, very nice. I like this one, this situation a lot. And this is how a piece may look like after you complete it. See, I can even hold it like this and show it to the camera, and that's awesome. The game is very simple. Players will alternate taking turns, so there's no real interaction other than taking a piece here that somebody else may want, but probably that's not going to be a major concern, I believe. Probably you'll want to get the pieces that you need more than actively trying to get in other players' way. Again, you start with these pieces only, and each turn you have 3 actions, and it's a very loose script, meaning you can use those actions to take any and all of the actions described here on this very effective player aid, any and all, even repeating them with the exception of the master action. The master action can be taken only once per turn. Also, pieces are divided into 4 tiers, 4 levels, as indicated by their size, as you see here. So, 3 actions, great variety, great flexibility. For an action, you can take a puzzle, place it in your personal area, we'll say that is it, and then, of course, replenish that. And usually you will want to have multiple puzzles going on at the same time. So suppose that I spend my first turn just hoarding these puzzles, and that's it. I took 3 actions. Now, as an action, I can also take a level 1 piece from the supply, so this little guy here, and add it to my supply. That at the start of the game would be that. So right now I got those. Hooray! For an action, I can upgrade a piece, meaning take a piece, return it to the supply, and pick up a piece that is 1 level higher. So 1 for 2, a 2 becomes a 3, or I could have chosen a 2 to become this kind of 3 instead. And that's the action, upgrade a piece. Of course, when it goes from 3 to 4, that it becomes the most exciting, because 4 is the one that has the most variety, the most possible configurations. You can also choose to spend that action to trade in a piece for one of a lower level. That is fine. Also, and from time to time, later in the game, you may want to do that. Also, for an action, I can place a piece in one of the templates, just like so. When it comes to the master action allows you to place multiple pieces, up to 1 piece per puzzle, as a single action. So basically the opportunity cost is there, because otherwise 1 action to place a piece, 1 action for another, 1 action for another. But if this is my pool of pieces for a single master action, I can do this and this and this for example, for a single action. And again, that means that usually, again, to improve your opportunity costs, you will want to have multiple puzzles going on at the same time and try to use the master action as often as possible, which is, again, ideally once per turn. And that's really it. This is the general idea, or almost like I believe 99% of the rules. So once a puzzle is completed, as we said, you simply show that to your opponents. You place that in your victory pile. Your pieces go back to your personal supply. You gain some new puzzles, some new puzzle piece, so things speed up as you go. And that's the idea. You play until all of these puzzles have been assigned to players. At that point, first you finish the current round. Next, everybody takes an extra turn. And finally, and this is cool, finally people can give final touches to their masterpieces. Suppose that by the time we finish the last puzzle, this is the situation, and I have these puzzles that are not being completed. Then I can take pieces from my supply and add them to unfinished puzzles, again in the special final phase called finishing touches, at the cost of 1 victory point each. So actually, I could place this one here during the finishing touches phase. That will cost me a victory point, but it scores me that one, so I will just count this one as 3 points. Or more likely, I have level 1 value tiles in my pile, in my scoring pile, and I just return them to the supply. The finishing touches phase is very important because it could be frustrating and it could be a little bit cutthroaty if I'm just trying to finish the game for the sake of it, because I see that you're almost done completing that puzzle there. So while not this way, if your puzzle is almost done, you basically get to score still part of it, because right now that would cost me 1 point to finish up, so there will still be 4. Right now it would cost me 2 points, so still be 3, better than 5 or nothing. I think that finishing touches are a really nice, well, touch that makes gameplay interesting and more laid back is the right word, less confrontational. The game is pretty exciting and it's not laid back exactly, it's pretty exciting because you're making all your little clever plans in your head and coming up, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And again, what other people take from the supply doesn't affect you, so it's not like, oh, I'm gonna get the last piece of this shape, so too bad for everybody else. So you really have a basically multiplayer solo with maybe some racing elements here when the game ends, but not much. That's not gonna count too much. Again, thanks to the finishing touches element. So very peaceful, very non-confrontational experience, pretty deep and engaging. Again, once you figure out the trick that you really wanna use the master action as much as possible, have multiple puzzles going on, then we feel like, well, you always do that. Yes, but the way you do it, the puzzles are different. And so you still are gonna have interesting decisions there. I would say the game gives an incentive in having multiple puzzles going on at the same time, which makes the intellectual challenge even more interesting, because oh, I'm done with this, so I know what to do, I'm done with the next. No, it's exciting and more interesting and more engaging to me to be working on multiple times puzzles at the same time. There may be some interesting chaining elements, because again, I may spend an action to upgrade a certain tile, but what if by using a master action I complete a certain puzzle that frees up those tiles, then I can use them somewhere else. So also the timing can be interesting. Okay, if I finish this puzzle, then I can use those pieces for that one and then for that one. And if I can do that efficiently, that gives me an advantage, of course. So for a game this simple, I was stunned. I'll tell you, nothing short of stunned by how fun I was having, by how much I was being drawn in. Turns out tile laying is fun already, but when you have pool building and engine building and decisions based on how you want to handle your pool, which tiles go in, which stars are committed, when they're free to go to other projects. All of these elements, I was really, really pleased by seeing how they came together well in such a smooth, such an intuitive, such a simple engine. There's a game that I could teach to anybody, even like a 5-year-old. They wouldn't play it particularly well, maybe, or efficiently, but they could play it. This is a game that a casual player can enjoy. And I'm fairly committed gamer. I played it with a friend who also is really an advanced gamer, and we didn't feel that nothing was missing. We had no problem. We didn't feel like, oh my gosh, this game is just so too simple, too simplistic. This is an incredibly engaging and deep game which runs on an incredibly minimalistic engine. The production is also very, 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 very good, both pleasant aesthetically and so efficient and so effective. So I'm very pleased. That was a very pleasant surprise. I bought it again a little bit on the spur of the moment, and sometimes you're just lucky that way that you buy a game without knowing much about it, and it may just turn out to be a classic, a future instant classic at game night. Because I consider this one hitting the table very often as, the last game of the night or as a warm-up game. It is that good. It is really, really good. Project L.